Sir,
How
can
many
we
of you
install
tried?
Java, which is of 14th version?
Yeah, first say about yourself who are speaking.
I'm
For,
Monica, sir, from CSCB.
okay, Monica, tell me.
Sir, can we install 14th version of Java, latest version, or
Okay.
we have? Yes, sir.
Actually, there is a intelligent way we need to think here. The first thing is don't go directly to install the latest versions of Java. Why? Because think that if you are using system of low configured one, so if you go for high-end versions or think that if you are using 32-bit operating system, if you install 64-bit Java, there is a conflict will be there in that. So that's why I said very clearly that what operating system you are using, you just verify uh, here. My computer, everyone will have this my computer or my PC one, right? So click on the properties and go through this. So this will be, so it is a laptop, that's why I'm getting like this. If it is a desktop, you can have a my computer and click right button on that particular my computer icon and choose properties, will get like this. So what operating system we are using, and what type of bit we are using, is a 32-bit or 64-bit operating system. So based on that we need to install. కొంచెం కొంచెం క్లియర్గా ఉండండి అమ్మా, ఎందుకంటే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నేను లేటెస్ట్ విండోస్లో వెరీ ఓల్డ్ వర్షన్ జావా ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసిన, వి డెంట్ ఫైండ్ ఆల్ ద ఫీచర్స్. లోయర్ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టంలో వెరీ హై ఎండ్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసినామంటే అది సూట్ కాదు అది. సో దట్స్ వాంట్ first we need to know what operating system you are using, how many bit size it is. Based on that you download the operating Java from internet and install. So nothing will happen, everything will work fine. Clear? So
Okay, sir.
నేను
Thank you.
1.8 ఇన్స్టాల్ చేయండి అని చెప్తే మీరు అందరూ 1.8 ఇన్స్టాల్ చేయదండి. థింక్ దట్ ఇఫ్ యువర్ సిస్టమ్ ఈజ్ మోర్ అడ్వాన్స్డ్, యూ గో ఫర్ సమ్ మోర్ అడ్వాన్స్డ్ JDKs. Okay. So whatever the example I am taking, it is an ideal example. So it's a standard example. But think that if you are having a very good configured system, very high end one, so you go for high end version of Java flavors, right? So it all depends on your system. But running, compiling, and executing is a common procedure. How many of you tried to run a simple application, Hello World application? Can anyone unmute and speak? No one tried.
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. May I know who
Rishita,
is this?
Rishita, sir, from CSCB.
Rishita.
I tried, sir, 14 version. I have installed, sir. I tried that executing Hello World.
Is it working?
Yes, sir, it is working, sir.
Very good. Very good. And remaining students, I'm not just going on this. Why? Because directly or indirectly we are finishing our syllabus. Don't take it as introduction classes or don't take it as a simple issues. Please, whatever the class we discussed in the class, please practice immediately at your home. It is not meant for just like that. So whatever we discussed so far in the class, you please try by your own. At any stage, if you have any problem, please communicate with me through phone or through WhatsApp or in the next class, and clear all the doubts. And you should be what you can say, be clear in that particular class. Why? Because day by day we are having more and more information. We need to remember. And if you did, I mean, if you practice in that day itself, so there is no problem in that. Right? So come back to the next topic. So next one is the buzzwords. Just know what is Java buzzwords. What are the Java features or advantages of Java? In this topic, it's very simple, and we are having a plenty of things. If any question, sometimes we may expect in previous question papers, JNT question papers, sometimes they may ask, write about Java buzzwords. So what is a buzzword? I mean, what is the futures of? So if it is a question for 10 marks, say for example, if you don't have any option to write another question, so at that time it is very helpful to write very detailedly, elaborately the advantages of Java. I'll go through this a simple in a simpler way. Then we will see some Java applications later. The first one is the key consideration were summed up by the Java team in the following buzzwords. So these all are comes under buzzwords, and these are the features supported by this Java. And not only this, and many more things will be there later at the time of we will speak. Altogether, the system we are framing such advantages by means of this. The first one is a simple. The simple stands for thing that we come across C language. In the previous regulations, the students may come across with C++ also. So with the support of C language, so already we had experience of 1 year with C language and data structures. You are pretty well, what you can say, experienced with C language. So if the next language, say for example Java, please mute remaining students. If you go for next further languages, if that new language is of same structure, same syntax of whatever we learn C language, so in that situation we can have feel that it is a very simple language. So here Java is as same as C language. The C, of course, is the old one and a pretty one, and everyone of BTech stream they are coming learning this C language. The structure of the syntax of C as it is implemented in Java. If you want to write a say for example finding biggest number or printing numbers from 1 to 10, writing functions, everything we are incorporated or embedded in this Java language. So Java syntax is as same as C syntax. Every statement is ended with semicolon. Here also ended with semicolon. If you want to put as if condition, if followed by the condition, here also the same. So we may feel that Java is simpler, that we can learn in a faster manner. But the only thing here it is they added new concept, that is C++. So it is a new for us. Why? Because we never come across the C++. But C++ is nothing but it is an advanced version of C or increment version of C language. Everything is same, but only OOPS concepts added here. The same scenario happens in Java also. Java will be with the support of C and with the support of OOPS, object oriented programming. These two are going to be added in this, and we named that one as a Java, and having many more features. But we can feel that Java is a simpler, that we can have a experience with the C language. Whatever the notations you learn in C, we can add here itself directly. Clear, Amma? Just go through the remaining part of slide later. And the next one is secure. Already we come across yesterday, the picture also I showed in my last class. Java is a secured one. So how can you see that Java is a secured one? Can anyone? Is my voice reaching to you all or not?
Yes, sir.
హలో
Yes, sir.
మీరు మధ్యలో ఎస్ నో ఏదో ఒకటి పలుకుతూ ఉండండి. జస్ట్ అన్మ్యూట్ అండ్ సే ఎస్ ఆర్ నో ఆర్ సంథింగ్ ఎల్స్. మీరు సైలెంట్గా ఉన్నారనుకో అసలు ఇంక ఏమి ఉండదు. నేను టు హూమ్ ఐఎమ్ స్పీకింగ్ ఐ డోంట్ నో, రైట్? So yesterday we come across this feature. Again I'll explain once. So Java is a very secured one. Why? Because say for example whenever you go for writing any internet applications, right, like using applets. So applet is a small program which will come from server to client. Think that you are expecting a page, you are requesting a page. The applet will come from server to our browser. So whenever any data transmitting from one place to another place, some unwanted issues will be added. You can call such things as viruses or trojans or malwares, you name anyone. Such will be come and sit in our system and spoil our system, like transmitting our confidential data to other end, or it may be disturb our operating system. But whenever any applet or any Java file or any other Java information which is coming from remote areas and running inside our system, the system or the internal JVM, Java JVM will have very tight and it never allows that particular file outside of the JVM. So it takes the file and loads into the JVM, local JVM, and inside JVM only it runs. It never give you, or it never allow that particular applet or any file coming from remote to run outside of the JVM. So whatever the malware or whatever the trojans or whatever the things which cause damage to our system, which never allow the JVM to go outside. That's why you can call it as a very secured one. So it comes to this and it verifies every byte of information and interprets. If anything, any unwanted issues there, it simply ignores here itself. That's why you can call it as a very secured one. Right? Any problem in this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Next, we will move to portable. What do you mean by portable? We come across this statement also in last class. Portable in the sense, it is a flexible to migrate in any operating system. How it is possible? Just because of bytecode. So, manam, whatever the program you written by means of language with the name of Java, the Java file is gone for interpretation or compiler, and compiler will convert that Java file into bytecode format. That bytecode is a magic code file or architectural neutral file or independent file, platform independent file, which can easily go into any operating system. This already మనం చెప్పుకున్నాం. That's why you can call it as a portable in nature. This is one example, and one more example is, say for example, if you are using Windows operating system, someone developed one applet which is of some other platform, but that one will come and migrate or come and install in our local system. Think that you are sitting in front of a system and you are browsing certain things. The data coming from a different part of the globe, right? And we don't know whether, of course, we are using Windows. The other end, they may use Linux or they may use Solaris or whatever the different operating system. But data is coming and showing in your local browser. That's why Java applets or Java files are portable in nature, right? So next one is object oriented. So from now onwards, usually we speak OOP or object oriented paradigm. So what is an object? What is object oriented? What are the main advantage of object oriented? We will speak on next class onwards. But here just know object in the sense a class provides a framework for building objects. So what is a class? What is an object? And inside a class. So all this, it is not a new for us, only the notations are varying. I think everyone knows a structure. How many of you know struct? విన్నారా అమ్మ ఎప్పుడన్నా పదం స్ట్రక్చర్ అనేది?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
స్ట్రక్చర్స్ చదివి ఉంటారు కదా. What is the difference between an array and structure? What do you mean by an array in C language? Array లేకుంటే
Array is
array is collection of
similar data types.
yes. ఇంకా క్లియర్ గా చెప్పాలంటే array is nothing but group of similar elements. Think that I would like to combine all second year students as an one array. So no third year will come into the second year class or no final year student will come and join in the second year class. I am making all the second year students who are having roll number 19 series onwards all together put in a one array. So similar homogeneous elements together grouped with a common name, we can call that one as an array. And what do you mean by what you can say structure? Structure means what?
Structure is a collection of heterogeneous or dissimilar data elements.
Actually, it is not opposite of an array. Here it is homogeneous, there at heterogeneous like that. Structure is nothing but it is a group of information. Means, say for example, I would like to maintain student details. Student will have, I'll show you one. See here. Usually you are using struct, for example, student details. So you are putting like this. Gurtundama structure marjbenara. Is it visible? My screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
ఎప్పుడన్నా చూసినట్లు గుర్తుందమ్మా ఇవి? Please recall the information. Already we come across this in first year onwards.
Yes, sir.
Right? So struct is a keyword. Right? With that keyword, you are going to be define one structure with the name of std, det or student details like that. So here I can mix different data types. It may be of same, it may be of different or anything. But all together we are giving a proper name. Say for example, I am maintaining student details. Student will have a roll number. So think that my roll number is in integer form. Right? అనుకోండి మామూలుగా మనకి అన్ని మిక్స్ అయి ఉంటాయి ఇక్కడ. Right? So next is name is of for example it is character of 30 or 40 characters, right? ఇంకేముంటాయి ఫీల్డ్స్ నెక్స్ట్ ఫీ అనేది ఒకటి ఉంటుంది కదా, యూ హ్యావ్ టు పే ఫీ సంథింగ్. సో ఫీ ఆఫ్ టైప్ ఫ్లోట్. నేను అన్ని రివర్స్ రాస్తున్నానా? ఎవరు ఏం చెప్పొద్దండి, ఎవరు చూస్తూ ఉన్నాను అంతే. am I writing properly or improperly?
Integer character and float fee, sir.
Float fee. Any syntax errors here? ఏం లేవు కదా.
Sir,
For example, I'm
semicolon
trying to
after
maintain address of certain field, say for example 40 characters. So like that I can maintain. A student will have an ID and definitely one name will be there, and he has a fixed up certain fee and having some address. So like that I define all statements which are related to a particular detail or particular structure. I can call that one as a structure. It is a record, complete, it gives a complete information about a student. Yes or no? Such things you can call as structures. Coming here in Java language, the only thing is here you are replacing struct with class. The remaining everything is same. You are replacing structure with class, and a slight variations will be there. How all, and we will discuss all those things later. First, try to understand what is an array. So here it is an array. Yes or no? ఇది ఒక array కదా, ఇది name of 30 in the sense it is a one array of, it takes 30 characters. Here it takes 40 characters, right? Next, structure in the sense a group of data. It may be a similar or dissimilar or whatever. It gives a complete information about that particular record. If you replace structure with class is a keyword, CLASS class. Now it becomes a class, right? And all these are the members or data of this particular class. If you define any function here, for example, I define one function here, void get details, right? Say for example, I mention like this. I don't write any information here. So whatever the information I can mention here, right? So what becomes, this is a member of this particular class. We can call this one as a method. ఇలా రాసే ఫంక్షన్స్ని మనం మెథడ్స్ అంటాం, వీటిని డేటా అంటాం. నౌ క్లియర్? ఓకేనమ్మా? యాక్చువల్గా వీటిని ఫంక్షన్స్ అంటాం కదా మనం. ఫంక్షన్ అంటే కొంచెం డిఫరెన్స్ ఉంటుంది. ఫంక్షన్ దేనికి రిలవెంట్గా ఉండదు, దేనికి రిలేటెడ్గా ఉండదు. బట్ ఇక్కడ గెట్ డేటా అనేది ఏమంటే ఇట్ ఈజ్ రిలేటెడ్ టు దిస్ పర్టికులర్ క్లాస్. ఇక్కడ గెట్ డేటా అనే మెథడ్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, స్టూడెంట్ డీటెయిల్స్ని తీసుకుంటుంది. అది పుట్ డేటా అంటే స్టూడెంట్ డీటెయిల్స్ని ప్రింట్ చేస్తుంది అని. So whenever you are defining any function which is inside a class, that becomes a method. దాన్ని మెథడ్ అంటాం మనం. ఇంతకుముందు మీరు ఏం చదివింటారు, ఫంక్షన్స్ అని చదివింటారు. Of course it is a function, but here it is acting as a method of this particular class. This is the data of this particular class. ఇది ఒకటి గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండమ్మా. From next class onwards we will speak continuously all these things. Right, come back. So we know pretty well about the structure. If you are good at structures, definitely classes are very simple. The only thing You are just replacing struct with class, and we are adding many more advantages of classes altogether in this particular Java. So class is nothing but you are incorporating or equipping or what you can say grouping or wrapping certain information like member data and member method. ఈ రెండింటిని కలిపి మనం ఒక గ్రూప్గా ఫ్రేమ్ చేస్తే దాన్ని ఒక క్లాస్ అంటాం. ఆ క్లాస్కి ఒక వేరియబుల్ని క్రియేట్ చేసినామంటే దాన్ని ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అంటాం. సో క్లాస్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఇట్ ఇస్ అ ఫ్రేమ్వర్క్. Objects are nothing but the real entities which are instance to the class, which are going to access the data and method by means of objects. Now clear?
Yes, sir.
Can anyone?
Yes, sir.
Or no? So from next class onwards we'll work on objects. Be clear in this, and if you have any problem, please go through structures once and arrays once with your previous notations or notes and all. The next one is the robust and reliable. These are two things comes together here. So robust in the sense it is a very strong, and something happen at any stage and only that part of thing will be affected. Remaining program will run as usual. So reliability comes over here. It is we're having two way of compile. One is at compile time and another one is at run time. So very strong, and it is a very the data what you are expecting, the data will be reliably come and reliably execute the program. Say for example, the program is developed by one person and it is going to be accessed by another person somewhere else. Definitely the program will come and execute in that different operating system. And one more thing is the two persons doesn't have the same configured systems and same operating system or same other things. May have one person having very high-end system and another person having very low-end system of different operating system, different configurations. Though the program will run without a single modification. That's the main advantage of this Java. This comes under robust and reliable. So come to the multi-thread. Multi-thread in the sense in Java program, before going to Java, in C program we are having like this. I'll just replace this with one more. So in C program, what usually we did, we are having a main method, void main, and you are having certain statement, stat statement 1, statement 2, 3, 4, 5, and end the program. Say for example, this is our simple main program. The compiler compiles starts from the main onwards and executing one statement one after one, and at any stage any error is there, it shows all the errors and simply come out. If everything is fine, it executes all the statements one by one continuously to the end. This all is going to be defined with a single thread or single process. Only one process or one minute process is going to be assigned to this particular program and execute all the statements. For example, we are having plenty of functions and all. Some function or some statement is leading or asking to wait. ఇక్కడ కొంచెం క్లియర్గా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. ఇక్కడ ఒక 3-4 ఫంక్షన్స్ రాసినాం అనుకోండి. సే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇక్కడ ఒక ఫంక్షన్ రాసినాం మనం, రైట్? ఇక్కడ ఒక ఫంక్షన్ రాసినాం, ఫంక్షన్ కాల్ చేసినాం, ఇక్కడ ఒక ఫంక్షన్ని కాల్ చేసినాం. Think that the function 3 is asking certain user input, or you invoke it to sleep, or you invoke it to delay certain time. అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, ప్రోగ్రామ్ అక్కడ స్టక్ అయిపోతుంది. ఇక్కడ ఈ ఫంక్షన్ లైక్ వస్తుంది, ఇక్కడికి వచ్చేసి ఏమంటుంది, ఎంటర్ యువర్ నెంబర్ అని ఆగిపోతుంది. ఎంతవరకు యూజర్ ఎంటర్ చేసేంత వరకు ఆగుతుంది. Say for example, user is waited for 2 or 3 minutes. The program will be suspended for 2 or 3 minutes. But coming, why? Because we are having only one thread. Coming to Java, if you are replacing statements with Java, if this particular function is asking or waiting for user input, the remaining part of the program is going to be executed by different threads. That's the main advantage of multi-threading concept here. So thread in the sense it's a minute part or a small or a minute part of a process that can eventually execute remaining part of the program. So 2 or 3 threads we can generate by means of thread class or runnable interface. We are having 2 ways we can create a thread. ఒక థ్రెడ్ని మనం క్రియేట్ చేసినామంటే ఆ థ్రెడ్కి ఏ వర్క్ అసైన్ చేస్తే ఆ వర్క్ ఫినిష్ చేస్తుంది అది. ద రిమైనింగ్ థ్రెడ్ రిమైనింగ్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద ప్రోగ్రామ్ అండ్ సో ఆన్. ఒక థ్రెడ్